You were intentional about it. You booked the flights. You set the out of office notice. You told yourself you were going to disconnect, totally unplug. And on day 2, your shoulders were still up around your ears. By day 4, you were checking Slack. And when you got back to your desk on Monday, you were more tired than when you left. If that has happened to you, you're not doing vacation wrong. You're not weak. You are not a workaholic who needs better boundaries. Your nervous system is not depleted by effort. It's depleted by unresolved threat. And the threat did not go on vacation with you. Welcome to the AI Cafe Conversation. This is the Forbes Article Right edition. I am Sahar Andrade, neuroleadership coach, Forbes Coaches Council member, and the host of the show. Today we're talking about why vacation is not the burnout cure we were promised. What is actually driving executive exhaustion in 2026 and what your nervous system actually needs instead. So what burnout actually is? Let me start with the definition we got wrong. For years, burnout was described as exhaustion from overwork. The prescription was rest, take a break, recharge, disconnect, unplug. The problem is that the people following that prescription were coming back from 2 weeks in Tuscany and feeling exactly the same way as when they left. Because burnout is not a time off problem. It's a nervous system problem. Here is the actual science. Your body has a stress response system called the HPA axis. I'm gonna throw a scientific term here. HPA is hypothalamic pituitary adrenal. It is the system that releases cortisol when your brain detects threat. And it's brilliant at its job. When you are in acute threat, the HPA axis fires. Cortisol surges. Cortisol is your stress hormone. You get sharp, fast, focused. You handle the crisis. Then the threat passes. Cortisol drops. Your nervous system returns to baseline. That's the design. But the design assumes that the threat resolves. In 2026, for most executives, it does not. The board member meeting ends and the AI mandate starts. The AI mandate starts and the talent attrition accelerates. The talent attrition accelerates and the next reorganization is announced. There is no resolution signal. The HPA axis stays on. Researchers call the cumulative cost of this chronic unresolved stress allostatic load. It's the biological debt your body accumulates when it runs the stress response for too long without true recovery. And here is what allostatic load actually does to your brain. Research from neuroscientist Dr. Bruce McEwen showed that chronic elevated cortisol reduces the volume of your prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the seat for your judgment, your strategic thinking, your emotional regulation, and your ability to stay calm under pressure. Burnout is not tiredness. It's structural change in the leadership brain. You cannot nap your way out of structural change. Deloitte's 2026 research found that 82% of CEOs report exhaustion that does not respond to vacation. 82%. Nearly every C-suite leader surveyed, and the data tells us exactly why, you cannot take your nervous system offline by changing your location if the threat that activated it is still unresolved in your biology or in your brain. So why AI pressure makes it permanent? Now let me tell you why 2026 is different from every previous burnout conversation. For most of history, leadership pressure came in waves: a crisis, then a recovery, a high-stakes quarter, then a steadier one. The nervous system could find its baseline between rounds. AI pressure does not work in waves. It works in unbroken stream. Every week there is a new tool your board expects you to have evaluated, a new capability your competitor announced, a new headline about which jobs are disappearing, a new policy debate about why AI is not allowed to do. Your nervous system reads all of it as unresolved threat because none of it resolves. There is no moment where the AI landscape settles and your amygdala gets to rest. The result is what I call AI pressure dysregulation, a state where the nervous system is never fully in threat and never fully at rest. It stays in low-grade activation indefinitely. A single 20-minute activation of the stress response impairs cognitive flexibility for up to 3 hours. If your nervous system is in low-grade activation for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, for weeks on end, calculate what that cost your decision making. And then you take a vacation. You leave the office, but the unresolved threat is not in the office. It's in your HPA axis. It's in your cortisol pattern. It's in the allostatic load your body has been accumulated for months. So the threat travels with you. It doesn't even pay for itself. Which is why you check Slack on day 2. Not because you lack discipline, because your nervous system is still scanning for the resolution signal that never came. And when you return on Monday, the AI headlines are still there. The board pressure is still there. The mandate is still there. The threat reactivates immediately, and you feel like you never left. DDI's 2026 Global Leadership Forecast found that 66% of managers and 71% of C-suite leaders say they would leave their current role for one that offered better support for their well-being. Not for compensation, for a nervous system that could actually recover. The people who leave are the ones whose nervous system have run out of capacity, not the ones who lack commitment. So what actually works? So what does the nervous system actually need? Not absence, but regulation. They are not the same thing. Absence is taking your body out of the environment. Regulation is changing the state your nervous system is in. You can be in Tuscany, you can be in Tahiti, you can be in beautiful Paris or even in Cannes and be dysregulated. You can be in a board meeting and regulated. Location and schedule are not the variables. Nervous system state is the variable. Here is what regulation actually requires. First, the threat needs to feel resolvable. Not resolved, resolvable. The nervous system does not need certainty. It needs enough structure to lower the alarm. This is why leaders who name what they know and what they don't know regulate faster than leaders who project false certainty. The brain does not trust performance, it trusts honesty. Second, the body needs to complete the stress cycle. This is research from doctors Emily and Amelia Nagoski on burnout biology. The stress response is a physical cycle with a beginning, a middle, and an end. Most executives interrupt it in the middle. They manage the stressor, but they never signal to the body that the threat has passed. The cortisol stays elevated and the cycle never closes. Movement closes the cycle. Physical completion of what the body started biologically when it went into threat mode. Third, the nervous system needs what researchers call a social engagement signal. Human connection that reads as safe, not networking, not professional relationships, genuine felt safety with another regulated human. This is polyvagal theory. The social engagement system is the brake on the stress response, and most executives at 2026 are running without it. This is what my brain framework addresses. The full methodology is not something I walk through in a podcast episode because the work it takes to apply it's real work and takes real time. But the principle is this: regulation is a practice, not a prescription. You don't fix allostatic load with one vacation any more than you fix a fitness deficit with one workout. You build regulation the same way you build any capacity, with repetition, with structure, with accountability. The executives I work with who lead regulated teams are not the ones who take the longest vacations. They are the ones who regulate consistently, daily, before the board meeting, before the team presentation, before the difficult conversation. Because they understand something that changes everything. The nervous system does not know the difference between rest and regulation, but your team does. A regulated leader returns for 2 days away and walks into the room different, not because they rested, but because they process it. That is what your team is waiting for. Not for you to come back from vacation, for you to come back regulated. The next time someone tells you to take a vacation to fix burnout, I want you to hear something different. Rest is necessary. It is not sufficient. Your nervous system needs regulation, not just absence. And in 2026, with AI pressure, creating the kind of chronic unresolved threats that block every recovery signal your body is designed to send. Building regulation is not self-care. It's leadership strategy. If you want to know where your nervous system is operating right now, take the assessment in the notes below. There is a link for that. 10 minutes, real data about where you actually are. And if you want to talk about what regulation actually looks like for you, your team, and your organization, book a leadership clarity call. 30 minutes. No pitch, just clarity. The link is in the show notes as well. Thank you for being here. Before I leave, like I always say, show me some love. Share this episode with a leader who just got back from vacation and still feels exhausted. They need to know it's not them. It's biology. And biology responds to the right intervention. Like our podcast if you like it. Share it, subscribe to it, rate it. Please leave us a comment because all that helps us be listened to by more people. Thank you for making us one of the top 2% global podcasts. Really appreciate your help. Till I see you on Wednesday on our regular long podcast. Peace